Welcome to your first ever Kids Sports Center with me, Carter, and Cooper. So Cooper, we're going to break down all NFL, MLB, NCAA football, and NBA free agent tracking for today's episode. We will be doing one of these every few days, so just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show for today. So we're going to start out with the NFL. I'm Carter Hill. Cooper Hill. Follow me on Twitter at CBHill_03. Remember that. Okay, so Cooper, before we break this down, what do you think about the NFL at first?
Right now we're looking at the head of the NFL.com, and I still don't know if Darrelle Revis and his Jets have won yet. And if they did, then that was a tough game for Andrew Luck to throw on their defense. Really strong up there. So I think that the whole NFL, some of the teams could be better, some of the teams couldn't be better. We all know what happened with the Patriots last year.
Patriots. Okay, so let's go to the NFL scores for Week 2 that happened this Sunday and last Monday night and Thursday. Okay, so our first one, on Thursday night, the Broncos defeated the Chiefs 31-24 after defeated them 31-24. Okay, so we know that the Broncos returned a Jamal Charles fumbled, and the Broncos picked it up and took it into the end zone in the final seconds to win the game after they were down just 24-17 with like 30 seconds left. Cooper, your thoughts on that game?
Well, that play was key, that one touchdown, because that was the game winner. And we all know that we love game winners, hopefully. What did that score? We know that now the Chiefs had a bye week the first week, so now they're only 0-1, and they need to bounce back strong next week.
Zach, well said, Cooper. The Broncos, they are pushed to 2-0 on the season, 2-0, and the Chiefs fall to 1-1-0 on the season. Next score, Texans fall 17-24, to Chicago, to the Panthers from Charlotte, North Carolina. Your thoughts on that game, Cooper?
Well, first I need to say, excuse me about the Chiefs game. They did not have a bye the first week. And about the Texans game. They're now 0-2. They need to do their job out there. Go strong, hard. They need to tackle well. They need to block well for their teammates. They need to get yardage. They need to get first downs. And they need to be able to have a balanced football team.
Exactly, with their quarterback too. Still unclear about their quarterback decision. Next game, the Texans fall to 0-2 and the Panthers bounce up to 2-0 on the season. Quick thoughts, let's do it very quick so we can get on with the show. But quick thoughts about the Steelers versus the 49ers, as the Steelers defeat the 49ers 43-18 after Ben Roethlisberger scored 30 points and a big game for the veteran.
Blowout. The 49ers, they have Colin Kaepernick up there. They lost Frank Gore, so they have pretty good receivers. They still kind of they like their running back right now, I think. So all I have to say, good job Steelers, bad job 49ers.
Well said, Cooper. Both teams are now 1-1. Next game, Jameis Winston comes to town and defeats the Saints in New Orleans with Drew Brees 26-19. Now Drew Brees, he has a rotator cuff in his shoulder, could miss 1 to 2 weeks as the Buccaneers defeat the Saints in New Orleans, 26-19. Cooper, your thoughts?
I have to say that the Saints quarterback, Drew Brees, I think he's a better quarterback than the rookie Jameis Winston. I think that Jameis Winston came hard, executed his plays, did what coach said, and came out there with a win.
Exactly, Cooper. Saints fall to 0-2 Buccaneers, up to 1-1 on the season. James Winston, former number 1 overall pick from Florida State. Next game, quick thoughts. The Vikings defeat the Lions, 26-16.
They're both in the same NFC North, I think. Yeah. They're not, I'd like to say they're pretty close to each other. They kind of are. The Lions, Detroit, Vikings, Minnesota, both, well, the Lions are in Michigan. Both pretty cold places. They had a tough game against each other. Rivalries are always hard.
Exactly, Cooper. Vikings go up to 1-1 where the Lions rock to 0-2, a little surprising there, but not as surprising as the Colts. We'll get to that in a few minutes. They defeat the Lions 26-16. Next game, the Chicago Bears falling to the Arizona Cardinals 48-23, and Jay Cutler out for 2 to 4 weeks with a hamstring issue. Who are your thoughts?
The Bears are my favorite team, and I know that they need to get a new quarterback. They need to trade Jay Cutler for something else, maybe even release him. They could have gotten Russell Wilson after the re-signing of him by the Seahawks, and everybody knows that no way they weren't going to re-sign him.
Exactly, well said. Cardinals are now 2-0 after a big day for Carson Palmer, and Bears are now 0-2 as they fall in Chicago. Next game, very close game, and two very good teams who possibly can battle each other for the Super Bowl this year in the AFC. The New England Patriots defeat the Buffalo Bills 40-32. Your thoughts? And the former Virginia Tech quarterback Tyrod Taylor, what he's been doing for the Bills, although they lost that game.
All right, I think that Tyrod Taylor, he's pretty well. He's doing swell. And Patriots, Deflategate, they might still be doing it. And I'm surprised that they took away Brady's suspension for 4 games, so that would be a key to that game too.
2-0 Patriots and the 1-1 Bills. Still a close battle in the AFC East. Next game, the Bengals and the Chargers. Bengals win at 24-19. Quick thoughts on that one, Cooper?
Philip Rivers couldn't get it done.
They need to trade him. 2-0 Bengals and 1-1 Chargers.
Next game, Bears.
Next game is the Cleveland Browns and the Tennessee Titans, with the Cleveland Browns beating them 28-14. Thoughts on that game? The two 1-1 teams now.
Well, I've seen Mariota play, but I haven't seen Manziel play except for the preseason. I think that Manziel started. I'm not sure, but
He did.
okay, he did. And he did pretty well, I think.
Starting over Josh McCown, the former Buccaneer and Viking. Next game, the New York Giants are a big problem right now, blowing 2 fourth-quarter games, this time to the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons are 2-0. The Giants are 0-2, 24-20 in favor of the Falcons. Thoughts?
Well, Eli Manning and Odell Beckham Jr., they're both going to get better. I just have a feeling that they're both going to get better. And they're both going to execute together. And all the other receivers too. Vincent Jackson, there's one other that I can't think of. It's probably somebody big, but I don't know.
All right, 2-0. Redskins defeat the Rams 24-10 as they are both 1-1 now. Your thoughts on that game and Kirk Cousins' performance?
Kirk Cousins, he did splendid. And I think that he just passed all over the Rams defense and came out there and got it done.
Jaguars and Dolphins. As the Jaguars hit a 28-yard field goal with 40 seconds left, and they're now both 1-1. Jaguars 23-20.
Well, the Jaguars and Dolphins, that was a close game, 23-20. In the first quarter, both of them, no, the Jaguars took the lead 10-3. In the second quarter, it was 13-20, and in the third quarter, it was back to 20 all. And then in the in the fourth quarter,
The Jaguars win.
um,
Jason Myers hit the game-winning field goal. Final few games, and we should make this quick thoughts so we can move on to the standings. Quick thoughts, a few words for the Raiders and the Ravens as the Raiders defeat the Ravens 37-33. The Ravens are now 0-2. Raiders were 1. Derek Carr with the big game.
I think that Joe Flacco, he's probably embarrassed being defeated by the Raiders. I know they're probably going to do pretty well this year, but for how they look, they could do better than last year.
Cowboys defeating the Eagles 20-10. DeMarco Murray against his former team. Tony Romo breaking his right clavicus 20-10. Cowboys 2-0. Eagles 0-2.
Well, the Cowboys are probably going to have a problem with no Tony Romo. I mean, they could still probably pass it to Des Bryant.
He was out 4 to 6 weeks though.
Yes?
Yep, broken foot.
Oh, well, their offense isn't going to be good anymore with that.
Packers beat the Seahawks 27-17. The Seahawks now 0-2. Packers 2-0.
Surprising, but not surprising for the Packers. I know them. They're in the same division as the Bears, and I know that they're easily one of the best teams in the NFC.
Well said. Final game, the Monday night game. Colts surprisingly 0-2. The Jets surprisingly 2-0. 27 Jets.
Like I said, I didn't know that, but until now. But like I said, Andrew Luck he probably couldn't pass on Darrelle Revis and his fellow secondary.
Luck and Adam Vinatieri, the kicker, really struggling. All right, that's all the games for the week. Now we move on to the standings. The division. Right now, the New England Patriots, the New York Patriots, the New York Jets are tied for first. The Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins tied for second in the AFC East. Your pick for the winner of that division?
Probably the Patriots.
All right, AFC North. Cincinnati Bengals first. Cleveland Browns and Pittsburgh Steelers tied for second, and the Baltimore Ravens third. What's your pick for that division?
Pittsburgh.
AFC South. Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans 1-1. That's not a very good division right now. They're tied for first, and the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts tied for second. Pick for that division.
I'm going to go with either the Titans or the Colts.
AFC West, the Denver Broncos lead that one 2-0, and the Kansas City Chiefs, Oakland Raiders, San Diego Chargers are tied for second. Pick for that division.
I have to say Denver.
Now we move on to the NFC. The Cowboys lead that division 2-0, the Redskins second, and then the Giants and the Eagles tied for third. Your pick for that division.
I don't think that Dallas will win it, and since that's 4 to 6 weeks without Des Bryant and a few weeks without Tony Romo. So I'm have to go with either the Giants or the Redskins.
NFC North, Green Bay Packers lead that one 2-0. Minnesota Vikings second, Detroit Lions, Chicago Bears third. Your pick for that division.
Second year in a row, the Packers. Third, I think.
NFC South, Atlanta Falcons, Carolina Panthers tied for first, Tampa Bay Buccaneers second, the New Orleans Saints third.
Atlanta.
NFC West finally, the Arizona Cardinals 2-0, St. Louis Rams 1-1, San Francisco 49ers tied with the Rams for second 1-1, and the Seattle Seahawks 0-2 surprisingly pick for that division.
I'd like to go with the Seahawks a little ahead of the Rams.
Well, so that's all the standing game matches for this week, and we'll do all your picks for this week. Washington, the Giants.
I've got to go with the Giants.
Ooh. Oakland and Cleveland.
Probably Cleveland.
Atlanta and Dallas.
Atlanta.
Cincinnati and Baltimore.
Cincinnati.
San Diego and Minnesota.
San Diego.
Indianapolis and Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Ooh. Pittsburgh and St. Louis.
Pittsburgh.
Tampa Bay and Houston.
Houston.
Jacksonville, New England.
New England.
New Orleans and Carolina.
No, Carolina.
All right, that's all our standings. We move on to MLB now, and we move on all the matchups tonight. Yankees and Blue Jays in a battle for the American League East. 3.5 games behind the Blue Jays right now. The Yankees are four games into the wild card though. Who do you have that game tonight?
Probably the Blue Jays. I say that they win the division.
Do you say the Yankees get the wild card? All right, we're just gonna do that pick. Except the Orioles and the Nationals. Who do you have for that one in the Beltway battle?
Orioles.
All right, now the standings. The Toronto Blue Jays are up 3.5 games on the New York Yankees in the American League East. Baltimore 12.5 games out. Boston 13.5. Tampa Bay 14. And you had Toronto winning that division. Winning AL Central, Kansas City way up. Minnesota 11. Cleveland 12.5. Chicago White Sox 15.5 and Detroit 18.5, which is very surprising picks.
Kansas City.
The West in the American League. Texas up by 1 game on the Houston Astros. The Angels 4.5 games. Seattle 7.5 and Oakland 16.5. Pick Houston. Nationally, the East. The New York Mets are leading. Washington 6.5 back. Miami 21.0. So it's just between the Washington and the New York Mets now. Atlanta 25.5 and Philadelphia 29.
I'm not picking the Mets because they're my favorite team. Well, they're up ahead of the Nationals by 6.5 games, so I didn't go in with them.
All right, the Central Division. The St. Louis Cardinals have already clinched a playoff spot, but not the division, as they are up by 4 games on the Pittsburgh Pirates, 6 games on the Chicago Cubs, 30.5 games on the Cincinnati Reds, and 31.5 on the Milwaukee Brewers. Pick for that one.
St. Louis.
And then finally for the National League West, LA Dodgers up 7 on San Francisco, 13.5 on Arizona, 15.5 on San Diego, and 22.5 on Colorado.
LA.
That's your standings. As we move on to college football now. Our rankings. We'll get to our rankings, our scores from last week, and then the current rankings, and then we'll get to our college football picks. Or college football playoff picks. Right now, the AP Top 25 is Ohio State with 42 first place votes. At 2, Michigan State with 7 first place votes. At 3, Ole Miss with 11 first place votes. Tied 3rd, TCU. 5th, Baylor. 6th, Notre Dame. 7, Georgia. LSU had 1 first place vote. At 8, UCLA 9. Florida State 10. Clemson 11. Alabama 12. 13, Oregon. 14, Texas A&M. 15, Oklahoma. 16, Arizona. 17, Northwestern. 18, Utah. 19, USC. 20, Georgia Tech. 21, Stanford. 22, Wisconsin. Tied with them, BYU. 24, Oklahoma State. 25, Missouri. And that's the AP, so that's all I'm going to read. The only thing that popped out on me, Auburn at 25 in the coaches poll. What do you think about that?
Well, Gus Manziel, he's pretty good, but his defense did not show up against Leonard Fournette and LSU Tigers.
All right, well said. And then the rest is about the same, but we will not go through all those. Those are the rankings for week 4. All right, our scores for this week, or excuse me, last week. On Thursday, Clemson defeated Louisville 20-17. Louisville surprisingly 0-3. Clemson 3-0. What do you have about Louisville?
Well, I think that Louisville, I'd say that they can bounce back next week against Stanford, and I didn't say Stanford, I said Sanford, so that's why, or Samford, that's why I'm picking them easily.
All right, but Louisville surprisingly 0-3. We're only going to go through the major scores here, so not all the college football scores. All right, Florida State only beating Boston College 14-0. Florida State 3-0, 1-0, and Boston College 2-1, 0-1. What do you think about Florida State
Well,
with Everett Golson?
I say that Florida State, they have another playmaker QB, not as well as James Winston, but I say that they at least go 10-2.
All right, this one was really surprising. Missouri, 22nd ranked in the country, 3-0, 2-0 at home. They defeat UConn 9-6. UConn is 2-1, so they are pretty good this year. But your thoughts about Missouri struggling a lot in that game?
All right, Connecticut, they should not have gone with the fake field goal. I say that if I was the coach, just kick the field goal. For Missouri, for struggling that game, they need to score more points than that if they want to be in the top 25.
Texas A&M defeats Nevada 44-27. Nevada 1-2. Texas A&M undefeated at 3-0.
Well, Texas A&M, they still have their Kyle Allen, I think, is starting for them. Yeah, and they have all like a great offense. Their defense, pretty good, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Oklahoma defeating Tulsa 52-38. A lot of points. 3-0 Oklahoma, 2-1 Tulsa.
Number 16 in the nation, Oklahoma. They did really well. Bayer Mayfield. His last name is Mayfield. Baker Mayfield. Their quarterback. He did really well. The only touchdown I saw that they scored was his rushing touchdown. So
35-21 Michigan State 3-0 over the 2-1 now Air Force. Air Force looks pretty good. Has a good team after challenging Michigan State in East Lansing.
I don't have them in my top 4 in my college football playoff, but I do have them either the first one out or the second one out. You'll hear about that later.
Northwestern beats Duke 19-10. What's your thoughts about Northwestern and Duke?
Duke had it. They let go.
All right. Oregon crushing Georgia State. Is Oregon 2-1, and Georgia State now 1-2. What do you think about Oregon this year?
Vernon Adams is doing well.
The Eastern Washington transfer.
He came up with that injury against Eastern Washington, but went back against Michigan State in week 2. I say that they do pretty well on the year.
LSU Auburn. LSU defeats them 45-21. Big one. LSU now 2-0, 2-0 in the SEC. 2-1 Auburn, 0-1 in the SEC.
Like I said, Leonard Fournette ran all over that Auburn defense.
And Will Muschamp, the former Florida head coach. Final. This one a little surprising. Although these teams 2-1 we've seen are pretty good. Ohio State 2013 over Northern Illinois. They bench Carter Jones, bring in JT Barrett. Ezekiel Elliott had 108 yards, but that was all they really had from rushing except for Barrett, and Barrett replacing Jones. 20-13, Northern Illinois 2-1, Ohio State 3-0. What do you think about this game?
The quarterback competition is back up again. Cardell Jones won it, but now they're back on it. Back to the drawing board with quarterbacks.
Yeah, Northern Illinois, maybe a good team. We'll have to see in the MAC. Wisconsin 28-3, 2-1 Wisconsin over Troy 1-2.
Well, they played Troy. They executed well, and they got it done. Number 24 in the nation.
Okay, Texas San Antonio 0-3, losing big to Oklahoma State 69-14. Oklahoma State now 3-0. What do you think about Oklahoma State?
I say that they're not going to stay in the top 25 in my prediction. I say that they're like third one out of the top 25 at the end of the season.
Wow. 30-22, big one. Notre Dame gets the win over Georgia Tech.
That was a close game, the whole game. Notre Dame just got it done. They have beaten 2 ACC schools in a row. with Virginia first, and then capping it off with Georgia Tech.
52-20 Georgia over South Carolina. Grayson Lambert, the Virginia transfer. 3-0 Georgia, 2-0 in the SEC. Now 1-2 South Carolina, 0-2 South Carolina. What do you think about South Carolina and Grayson Lambert at Georgia?
Grayson Lambert, he went 24 for 25 that game. He set an NCAA record. And Nick Chubb did well too.
And maybe he was doing better with better playback makers around him than he did at UVA. 56-37 TCU for SMU. SMU looks pretty good, but not much to talk about there, except for TCU's outburst.
I'm not saying anything about the college football playoff about my predictions yet, but TCU may or may not be in it.
Stanford, shockingly, 41-31 over USC.
USC, they thought they would run over them, but they didn't have a run-through game.
Well said. Ole Miss defeating Alabama in Tuscaloosa, 43-37. These are all the ranked scores. The ball did not out the Tide's way as the tip by Laquan Treadwell went into.
That was an amazing play by especially the receiver, number 8, whoever that was. Shad Kelly, for sure. I mean, it was a high snap, he still caught it, and he was hit as thrown, threw it to Treadwell, tipped it, caught, touchdown.
UCLA 24-23 over a good BYU team. That was a good game.
Yes,
Josh Rosen, very good.
Yes, Josh Rosen. He is amazing right now. He's a great replacement. Even
Hundley.
Maybe better than Brett Hundley.
We'll see. He's a true freshman. We'll be seeing our picks later. BYU, although a pretty good team. Utah 45-24 over Fresno State. Utah now 3-0. And then Arizona now 3-0. 77-13 over a pretty good Northern Arizona team now 2-1. What do you think about Arizona's outburst?
Both of those teams are in the Pac-12. Arizona.
Arizona's not in the Pac-12.
I'm talking about Arizona.
Oh, sorry.
Utah and Arizona. They're both great teams in the Pac-12. I think that Arizona is a little better, number 20, and Utah's number 21. Arizona, their quarterback, he's close to one of the Heisman candidates right now. He's like 4 after Chad Kelly, I think.
Key games this week in the top 25. We will check these scores real quick for you, and then we will move on to our college football predictions playoff. On Friday, Stanford plays Oregon State. Saturday, LSU, Syracuse, Georgia Tech, Duke, Georgia and Southern, BYU and Michigan, Central Michigan, Michigan State, Rice, Baylor, Oklahoma State, Texas, Western Michigan, Ohio State, UMass, Notre Dame, Louisiana, Monroe, and Alabama, TCU, Texas Tech, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, UCLA, Arizona should be a good one. What are your thoughts about that one? We'll stop us there.
I say that UCLA wins.
Hawaii and Wisconsin, Ball State, Northwestern, Utah, Oregon, that's another one I want your prediction on.
Oregon, just by a little.
And USC and Arizona State. So there was only 2 ones I really wanted the prediction. Actually, let's tune it back to Stanford and Oregon State. What do you think about that one? Have Stanford?
Probably.
Okay, now on to our college football playoff picks. Cooper, start with yours.
All right. At number 6, the second one out, I have LSU. At my first one out, I have Michigan State. At number 4, I have Ole Miss. Number 3, I have UCLA. At number 2, I have Ohio State. And at number 1, I have TCU.
Why do you have TCU at number 1?
Well, I think that they're a better team than Ohio State and UCLA and Ole Miss and LSU and Michigan State.
All right, now my picks. Number 1, I have the Ohio State University. Number 2, I have TCU. So a little flop there. Number 3, I have Ole Miss. 4, I have UCLA with Josh Rosen carrying them. 5, outside, I have Alabama. And 6, I have Baylor.
The top 4 we both had it swapped. I have Ole Miss at 4. He has Ole Miss at 3. I have UCLA at 3. He has UCLA at 4. I have TCU at 1. He has TCU at 2. I have OSU at 2, and he has OSU at 1.
Clemson was right outside for me. Now we move on to the NBA, our last subject of our first Kids Sports. And I'd like to thank everybody for watching our first episode. Follow me, Carter, at CBHill_3 on Twitter, and Cooper right here. Now our free agents for NBA, we're going to go over the big ones. Quincy at AC now signing with the Kings. How do you think the Kings will adjust to that?
Well, I think that they need a forward. They have him now, and they look pretty good.
LaMarcus Aldridge signing with the Spurs, leaving the Trailblazers, which he's been for a long time. We're just going through the major ones here.
That's going to help the Spurs a lot. I think that they will win their division.
Big pick there. Carlos Boozer, he is now signing. He's still a free agent actually with the Chicago Bulls for a long time. So he's still a free agent. And he played for the Lakers last year. Not many big free agents out there, except for Tristan Thompson re-signing with the Cleveland Cavaliers. How does that help the Cavaliers?
Tristan Thompson, that's going to help them. They still have LeBron James, and Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love. They do a little bit worse than last year, I think.
Now Kevin Love re-signing with the Cavaliers now, and also Dwayne Wade signing with the Miami Heat. What do you think about that? And Goran Dragic.
2 guards back, that's going to be a huge difference to the Heat because they like shooting threes.
Obviously, LeBron leaving there from Cleveland last year in free agency. And the latest news is Austin Day waived by the Atlanta Hawks. That's just our latest news. And remember the first overall pick this year was Karl Anthony Towns with the with the Minnesota Twins with Timberwolves, and then Okafor from Duke, second, Kentucky and Duke. All right, that is our first ever Sports Center Kids version. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please share this with all your friends. Carter at CBHill_3 and Cooper. We'll be trying to do this every few days, depends on what they have and how much time we have. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for more. Tune in every 3 to 4 days, as we'll have one, and then except for something major happens, and tune in. Tell me what you thought of this show in the comments section below, or tweet me at CBHill_3. We could be getting a Twitter for this soon. So tweet me there, comment section below, tell all your friends, share Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Google+, all of that good stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Cooper, for doing this one for me. He'll be with us almost every time, and then we'll have some analysis coming. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you liked the setup. Tweet me how you thought about it. Just tweet me about anything you liked about the show or disliked. That would really appreciate it.
Leave a like if you like the setup.
Thank you.